Richard gasped when he saw the ring on the patient's finger. He couldn't believe his eyes. How could that object, a family heirloom, have ended up there? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our exciting stories. But now let's find out what happens in this touching story. Good vision. Richard was a 55-year-old man with a face marked by the events of life. His eyes, once bright with youth and hope, now reflected a melancholy wisdom that only years of pain and experience could forge. A deep understanding of life's inevitable losses and the quiet strength it takes to endure them. Growing up in a family of doctors, his path was marked from the beginning. His passion for surgery was profound, fueled by the stories of his grandfather, also a surgeon who had taught him to respect life and treat every patient with dignity. Richard had met Sadie, his future wife, in his first year of university. They had both been shy, a little unsure of themselves, yet drawn to each other's quiet intensity. Over time, their bond grew stronger, forged through shared challenges and the joy of discovering life together. She, with her ethereal beauty and talent for painting, had won him over immediately. Even though they came from different worlds, their connection was unbreakable. They married early and lived together for 20 years, sharing joys and sorrows. But fate decided to separate their paths when Sadie fell seriously ill. Richard did everything he could to save her, even selling their house to pay for treatment abroad, but nothing could stop the merciless disease. Sadie died, leaving Richard only with the memory of their life together and a deep void in his heart. Even after 7 years, Richard could not forget Sadie. He often spent his evenings looking at the paintings she had painted, seeking comfort in her talent and her love. He had become a solitary man, dedicating himself completely to his work, performing complex operations that others would have avoided. Colleagues admired him for his ability, but also found him a bit strange, often sitting alone on the bench, reading the newspaper, always dressed in a careless way. Richard often walked the streets of his city, reflecting on the moments spent with Sadie. Every corner of the city reminded him of something about her, a smile, a laugh, a moment of happiness that now seemed distant. It was as if every stone, every tree, every building carried with it a fragment of their love. One day, while working at the hospital, Richard found himself faced with a young patient, Elise, hospitalized for acute appendicitis. During the post-operative visit, he noticed a gold ring on the girl's finger. A unique ring, which he knew very well. If you like the story, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. That jewel was unmistakable. It belonged to Sadie, his late wife. Richard felt his heart accelerate. A feeling of disbelief and confusion pervaded him. How could that ring be on Elisa's finger? All day, Richard was tormented by questions and suspicions. The ring had to be a unique piece, tailor-made for Sadie. He decided to investigate, and the following morning took advantage of a moment of calm to talk to Elise. He asked her in a trembling voice how she came into possession of that ring. Elise, surprised and moved, began to tell her story. Elise had grown up in an orphanage after her parents died in a car accident. Life there had been hard and lonely. Once out of the orphanage, she found work in a clothing factory where she met Randy, the foreman. Randy was married, but that didn't stop him from seducing Elise. Their stormy relationship culminated with the discovery of Elise's pregnancy, and Randy, feeling betrayed, abandoned her. Fired from the factory and with nowhere to go, Elise found herself living on the streets, surviving through petty thefts in supermarkets. One day, while looking for food, she met Sadie. Sadie, despite her illness, showed Elise unexpected kindness. She gave her the gold ring, telling her that she had no children and that the ring would help her in difficult times. This gesture changed Elise's life, who stopped stealing and began to rebuild her life. As he listened to Elise's story, Richard felt a mixture of emotions: pain for the memory of Sadie, compassion for Elise, and an unexpected sense of peace. He decided not to claim the ring, respecting his wife's wish to help someone in need. Richard realized that through Elise, Sadie had continued to bring light to the world, even after her death. Elise, now married to Logan, a successful businessman who had agreed to be little Leah's father, still carried the ring with her as a talisman, a symbol of hope and rebirth. Elise often remembered Sadie's words and found strength in those memories. Every time she looked at the ring, she felt connected to that extraordinary woman who had helped her in the darkest moment of her life. Richard, moved by Elise's story, found a new purpose. He decided to maintain the bond with Elise and her family, feeling that somehow Sadie had left him one last gift. When Elise, her husband Logan, and little Leah went to visit him in his modest apartment, Richard again felt the warmth and joy of a family. That day marked a new beginning for Richard. He understood that, even in the darkest moments, there is always the possibility of finding light and hope. His home, once quiet and sad, was now full of laughter and love. Each visit from Elise and her family was a tangible reminder that Sadie's love continued to live through them. Richard felt that through Elise, Sadie had sent him a message of hope and life to help him find joy in the small daily moments. Have you ever had an encounter that drastically changed your life?